Hello students, today let us come to next part of the ear, that is internal ear. Internal ear is also known as labyrinth. It lies in petrous part of temporal bone. Labyrinth is made up of a bony labyrinth and membranous labyrinth. Bony labyrinth is made up of cochlea, vestibule in the center, and 3 semicircular canals. Bony labyrinth is made up of bone. Within bony cochlea lies the membranous labyrinth. It is having same parts as that of the cochlea, and its structure also resembles to cochlea. This is duct of cochlea present within bony cochlea. Saccule and a tricle are present within the vestibule, and 3 semicircular ducts lies within the semicircular canal. Membranous labyrinth contain endolymph within it, and it is separated from, that is, membranous labyrinth is separated from bony cochlea by the presence of another fluid known as perilymph. So endolymph flows within membranous labyrinth, and perilymph separate the membranous labyrinth from the bony labyrinth. As cochlea, it is anterior most structure. Then in the middle lies vestibule. This quadrangular structure is vestibule, and semicircular canals are posteriorly present. Cochlea. Bony cochlea resembles the shell of a snail. It forms anterior part of the bony labyrinth. Cochlea is a conical structure. It is having an apex that is also known as modulus, and one base. This wider portion is base of cochlea. The central axis of cochlea passes through this modulus, and around the central axis cochlear canal make 2 or 3 quarter turns. So cochlea is made up of cochlear canal, which is curved structure, and cochlear canal contains perilymph in it. Modulus is directed forwards and laterally. Its apex points towards the medial wall of middle ear cavity. This is middle ear cavity. This is medial wall. So apex is directed towards the medial wall of middle ear, and base. This is wider portion is base area. It is directed towards the fundus of internal acoustic meters. Internal acoustic meters is visible here. This is internal acoustic meters through which this nerve is leaving the petrous temporal bone. So petrous temporal bone is having an opening in its posterior aspect that is known as internal acoustic meters. From modulus towards the base of the cochlea, within the cochlear canals, there extend a bony ridge that is known as spiral lamina, which divide the interior of the canal into 2 compartments. The upper compartment is known as scala vestibuli, and lower compartment is known as scala tympani. This is the diagram showing interior of the cochlear canal. So if we cut a section across the transverse section across the cochlear canal, we can find out in the center there is presence of a spiral ridge of the bone that is known as spiral lamina. Spiral lamina divides the cochlear canal into two compartments. One is known as scala vestibuli or vestibular canal, and another is known as scala tympani, known as tympanic canal. The spiral bony ridge is an incomplete partition between the two these canals, but this partition is completed by a membrane present in this area known as basilar membrane. So this helped to completely separate the scala vestibuli from scala tympani. Between these two compartments of the cochlear canal, there is presence of cochlear duct, that is the part of the membranous labyrinth. It contains endolymph in it, and these two canals contain perilymph in them. In this diagram, we can find out this is scala vestibuli. Its opening is closed by a footplate of stapes bone. It contains perilymph. And this is scala tympani, which also contains perilymph. Both scala tympani and vestibuli, these communicate with one another at the helicotrema, which is present at the apex of the cochlea. So helicotrema is a small opening which is present at the apex of cochlea, and at which point these two canals these communicate with one another, and perilymph of one canal it move towards the another canal. Next comes to vestibule. Vestibule is the central part of this is vestibule. It is the central part of the bony labyrinth. It lies medial to the middle ear cavity. So this red color structure is the middle ear cavity. Its medial aspect lies the vestibule. Its lateral wall, this is lateral wall of vestibule. It opens into the middle ear cavity at the fenestra vestibuli or oval window. So oval window is this opening which is closed by a footplate of stapes bone. Fenestra vestibuli means it is an opening of the scala vestibuli. So scala vestibuli of cochlea, it leads into this oval window, and also there is presence of round window below to the oval window. That is the opening of scala tympani of cochlea into the middle ear cavity, that is round window. Three semicircular canals these open into posterior wall of the vestibule. So this is posterior wall of vestibule. Then medial wall of vestibule is related to internal acoustic meters. This is internal acoustic meters through which vestibulocochlear nerve is leaving the petrous temporal bone. So medial wall of this vestibule faces towards internal acoustic meters. This diagram shows the medial wall of the vestibule. Medial wall of vestibule represents a spherical recess in front, an elliptical recess behind, and between these two recesses there is presence of a vestibular crest. Vestibular crest, inferiorly it splits to enclose cochlear recess. Just below the elliptical recess we can find out an opening of a diverticulum. This is known as aqueduct of vestibule, which opens into a narrow fissure on the posterior aspect of petrous temporal bone near the internal acoustic meters. During lifetime, this opening it remain plugged by ductus endolymphaticus and a vein, and through this opening, as it remain plugged during lifetime, no perilymph escapes from this opening. Semicircular canals. There are three semicircular canals. an anterior or superior semicircular canal. Next is posterior semicircular canal, and third is the lateral semicircular canal. These lie at right angle to each other. These canals lie posterior-superior to the vestibule. Vestibule in its posterior and superior aspect lies the semicircular canal. These canals open into vestibule by 5 openings. Anterior or superior semicircular canal. It lies in a vertical plane and lies perpendicular to the petrous part of temporal bone. It is convex upwards. In this diagram, we can find out the interior of skull. So in the interior of skull, there is presence of petrous temporal bone. This is petrous temporal bone. And in its relation, we can find out arcuate eminence. So arcuate eminence is an arc-like projection which is visible on anterior surface of petrous temporal bone. It is produced by superior convexity of superior semicircular canal. So here we can also find out tegment tympani, that is the part of petrous temporal bone forming roof of middle cavity of the ear, middle ear cavity, and this is internal acoustic meatus present on posterior surface of petrous temporal bone. It is the opening from which vestibulocochlear nerve passes from ear to the skull. Superior semicircular canal is having 2 ends. This is anterior end, which ends in a dilatation known as ampulla. So ampulla lies in anterolateral position, and posterior end unites with the upper end of posterior canal. This is posterior canal. This is the upper end of this posterior canal. So here both the canals unite and forms a common structure known as crus commune, which opens into the medial wall of the vestibule. So these are opening into vestibule. Posterior semicircular canal lies in a vertical plane, but that plane lies parallel to the long axis of the petrous temporal bone. It is convex backwards, and its ampulla lies inferiorly, and upper end of it joins the anterior canal to form crus commune, which opens into the vestibule, and its ampulla portion also open into the vestibule towards its inferior aspect. Next is lateral semicircular canal. It lies in a horizontal plane with its convexity towards the posterolateral side. Its 2 ends open directly into the vestibule. Upper end forms the ampulla, and it open close to the ampulla of superior canal into the vestibule, and the other end, lower end, open directly into the vestibule. Membranous labyrinth. Membranous labyrinth lies within the bony labyrinth, and its structure is same as that of the bony labyrinth. It is in the form of a closed cavity in which endolymph is filled, and the epithelium of these specialized structures, these are having special functions. One is to receive the sound waves, and another is to maintain the equilibrium of body. Like bony labyrinth, membranous labyrinth is also having 3 parts. One is spiral duct of cochlea, or simply duct of cochlea. Second is a tricle and saccule. Third is semicircular ducts. So first part is duct of cochlea present within bony cochlea, and it is concerned it is having organ of corti, that is specialized organ for sense of hearing. Second part is atrial and saccule, which lies within the vestibule. These are having specialized structures known as maculae. These maculae are concerned with maintaining the static balance of body, that is, to maintain the balance of body at rest. Third part is semicircular duct, which lies within the semicircular canal. These are having specialized organ known as cristae. These maintain the balance of body while uh, movement or motion, that is known as kinetic balance also. So first comes to the duct of cochlea, or simply the cochlear duct. It is also known as scala media and spiral duct. So spiral duct occupies the middle part of cochlear canal between scala vestibuli and scala tympani. It is triangular in cross section. It is triangular area. Its floor is formed by basilar membrane and roof is formed by the Reisner's membrane or the vestibular membrane. And its outer wall is formed by wall of cochlea. Basilar membrane supports the organ of corti. So this specialized structure which is visible here, this is known as organ of corti. This is the organ that is related with hearing. It comprises of rods of corti and hair cells. Rods of corti are these columnar shaped structures which are visible here, and hair cells are on the upper superior surface or upper margin of these rods of corti. We can see these are the hair like structures present. These are the hair cells. These hair cells, these are embedded in an gelatinous membrane that is known as membrana tectoria. This complete structure is known as organ of corti. So organ of corti is mainly consist of hair cells. Hair cells are sensory receptors of auditory system which receives the sound waves. These generate nerve impulse in response to sound waves. So two types of hair cells are present in this organ of corti. One are the inner hair cell and other are these are outer hair cell and this is the inner hair cell. Both are separated by the tunnel of corti. Inner hair cell are less in number and these are about 3500 in number at birth time. Outer hair cell are more in number. These are about 12,000 in number at birth time. The function of outer hair cell is to amplify the low level sounds, and the function of inner hair cell is to transform the sound vibrations in the fluid of cochlea into electrical signals that are relayed via auditory nerve to brain. Organ of corti is innervated by peripheral processes of bipolar cells present in the spiral ganglion. The spiral ganglion is visible here. Spiral ganglion is present in the spiral canal over the spiral lamina. So this spiral ganglion is having bipolar cells. Bipolar means having two processes. One are the peripheral processes which proceed towards the organ of Corti and innervate it, and one are the central processes which forms the cochlear nerve. Inner hair cells are more densely innervated as compared to outer hair cells, and the auditory system receive more afferent input from hair cell as compared to the outer hair cells. Towards the posterior aspect, this duct of cochlea, it unites with the duct of saccule and forms the ductus reunions. So the process which includes the transmission of the sound wave is like this. This is scala vestibuli or vestibular canal. It is receiving the sound waves from the middle ear at the oval window. Then the sound waves which are present in the perilymph, these are received by the vestibular membrane. Then these get transferred to the endolymph present in this cavity, scala media. Then it make basilar membrane vibrate. So different parts of organ of Corti, these are stimulated by different frequencies of the sound, and the loudness of the sound depend upon the amplitude of vibration. So in this way, sound wave travel from perilymph to endolymph, then to basilar membrane, then stimulate the organ of Corti. Next comes to saccule and utricle. Firstly, saccule lies in antero-inferior part of the vestibule and is connected to the basal turn of the cochlear duct to form ductus reunions. Utricle is larger in size than saccule and lies in the posterior superior aspect of the vestibule. It receives end of 3 semicircular ducts through 5 openings. The duct of the saccule unite with the duct of the utricle here to form the ductus endolymphaticus. The ductus endolymphaticus ends in a dilatation known as saccus endolymphaticus, which closes the aqueduct of vestibule. Medial wall of saccule and utricle, these get thickened to form macula in each chamber. Maculae are the end organs that give information about the position of the head, and they are static balance receptors, means these help to maintain the balance of the body at the position of rest. Saccule gets stimulated by linear motions, like while going in a lift, that is a linear motion, and utricle gets stimulated by horizontal linear motion. Horizontal linear motion means like going in a car, then this gets stimulated and help to maintain the balance of the body while in motion. Then semicircular ducts. The 3 semicircular ducts lie within the semicircular canals, bony semicircular canals. Each duct has an ampulla corresponding to that of bony canal. In each ampulla, we can see here there is an end organ present that is known as ampullary crest or crista or cupola. Cristae respond to the pressure changes that take place in endolymph during movement of head. Blood supply of internal ear. Internal ear is supplied by branch of the basilar artery that is known as anterior inferior cerebellar artery. Anterior inferior cerebellar artery gives one branch known as internal auditory artery or the labyrinthine artery. So this labyrinthine artery, it further subdivide into various branches for the supply of these 3 different parts of internal ear. One branch of this internal auditory artery or labyrinthine artery is known as common cochlear artery, which supplies the cochlea, and further it gives a branch that is known as posterior vestibular artery, which supplies the saccule, posterior aspect of saccule, and posterior aspect of atricle, which is present here, and further proceed to give branches to the semicircular canal. Another branch is anterior vestibular artery, which supplies the anterior aspect of saccule and atricle, and also supplies the semicircular canal. Some supply to the internal ear is also given by stylomastoid branch of posterior auricular artery. So this is stylomastoid artery running in stylomastoid canal, and it give branch to the internal ear. Venous drainage is done by superior petrosal sinus, which is present here, and the transverse sinus. And small other inconstant veins may drain into superior petrosal sinus and inferior petrosal sinus. Superior petrosal sinus is present along the upper border of petrous temporal bone, and inferior petrosal sinus is present along the inferior border of the petrous temporal bone. So in these sinuses, venous blood is drained, and also into the internal jugular vein, which is formed by the termination of the sigmoid sinus. So it is sigmoid sinus visible here. When it exits from the skull or leaves the skull, it becomes the internal jugular vein. So that also drains some part of the venous blood of internal ear. Vestibulocochlear nerve is a nerve of internal ear. It is made up of two parts: cochlear part, which is arising from the cochlea, and vestibular part arising from the vestibule and semicircular canals. The cochlear part took its origin from the organ of Corti, and from there, from the hair cells, the peripheral processes arises and relay its information in the spiral ganglion present there, and then the central processes, these constitutes the cochlear nerve. In the same manner, vestibular ganglia, the peripheral processes of this ganglia, these innervate the maculae and cristae of vestibule and semicircular ducts. Then these peripheral processes relay in the vestibular ganglia, and the central processes of the ganglia, these combine together to form the vestibular nerve. So ultimately, vestibular and cochlear nerves, these combine together to form the vestibulocochlear nerve. The vestibulocochlear nerves leaves through the internal acoustic meatus and then passes to the brain, and facial nerve lies superior to the vestibulocochlear nerve in the internal acoustic meatus. Internal ear contain lymph fluid in all its three canals: scala vestibuli, scala tympani. These contain perilymph, and scala media contains endolymph. Applied anatomy related to internal ear. First is endolymph is produced by stria vascularis. It is a layer of cells which is rich in blood supply. These secretes endolymph, and this process requires melanocytes. And the disorder of melanocytes, which is known as albinism, in that condition the person may also be deaf. So deafness is associated with albinism. In conditions of neuroma of vestibulocochlear nerve. Neuroma means tumor of this vestibulocochlear nerve. If this neuroma may get extend into this internal acoustic meatus, then it also compresses the nearby lying facial nerve. So paralysis of the facial nerve is also there along with the vestibulocochlear nerve.